What is going on, everybody? Sorry about the previous video. For the few of you guys that have seen it, that totally didn't have audio. 100% my fault. Just an idiot. So sorry about that, guys. Anyways, hope you guys are having a great Monday. Hoping everybody's doing good so far and getting ready for an awesome week. So today, what I really wanted to dive into and make sure that we get into a little bit is asking the question because I'm kind of seeing it everywhere. A lot of comments, a lot of people talking about the Bo Nix video that I had from a couple days back, and there's just some debate really kind of across Broncos country as a whole, talking about is the Broncos roster the way that it's currently constructed right now, is it rookie quarterback ready, or is it setting up a rookie to fail, or is it allowing for them? Is it set up in a way where a rookie can be successful? And, if you would have asked me this a few months ago, or even, in the middle of the season, I would have been like, absolutely not. We're not even ready to get a quarterback. We need to get more talent. We need to get better players, blah, blah, blah. And a part of it too. So taking it even a step further back, during last year's offseason, Sean Payton was like my third choice to be the Broncos head coach. And the reason is because I really felt like I wanted to have a young head coach that could eventually handpick his own quarterback and then build the team out that way around him. And I didn't really feel like Sean Payton was going to be in it for the long haul enough. I really felt like it was like he's going to be so tied into Russell Wilson and Russell Wilson's success that it might not, it's like if that doesn't work out, then we're screwed and then we're starting over again in 2-3 years, putting a Band-Aid over everything. But to my surprise, what I'm really happy about this year is he's proven that that's not the case. He's proven that he's totally good with the rebuild. He's committed to a rebuild. He's committed to being here for the long haul and really riding the ship and making everything go the right way. And I think a lot of the moves or the lack of moves that's gone on this season, this offseason so far, has proven that by just getting rid of Russ, being willing to eat all the dead money, getting rid of the guys that were kind of toxic on this team and building it in his own vision. So I'm excited on how that goes. And some things that I wanted to bring up in the past too, guys, is looking at some of the Saints teams in the past. And there's been Saints rosters in many of the Drew Brees years, or even in the 1 year where Drew Brees wasn't with the Saints, that you can make an argument that 100% that the skill position players offensively were not anywhere near what we have here in Denver. It was bad across the board, offensively and defensively. And some of those years, he had like 30th, 31st, 32nd ranked defenses. But just looking at it in 2021, this is his final year in New Orleans, and his first year without Drew Brees. The Saints scored 21.4 points per game, and last year the Broncos scored 21 points per game. Now, mind you, the quarterbacks were a mix of these three guys. Taysom Hill started 9 games, Jameis Winston started 7 games, and Trevor Siemian started 4 games. Right, so you can make the argument that those are not really good quarterbacks. In fact, one of them is like a hybrid. He's basically a tight end playing quarterback. Now, what you can say, though, is that these are quarterbacks that either A, were extremely familiar with Sean Payton's system and knew how to operate it, or B, were at least professional NFL quarterbacks in a sense of how it's played from the pocket, being able to get the ball out of their hands, make quick decisions. They're not going to be flashy. They're obviously not going to be elite quarterbacks, but they're guys that can operate and function. Essentially, they're really, really good backups that were happy to be starting, and specifically those are Jameis Winston and Trevor Siemian. And they were still able to score more points in total than the Broncos offense this last season did. So that just shows that if you have a quarterback that kind of fits into Sean Payton's mold a little bit, he can make things happen. But to take it a step further, the running backs were Alvin Kamara, who didn't actually have a good year at all, and he only played 10 games. Mark Ingram and Ty Montgomery were the running back. So Kamara played 10 games, and then I think Ingram and Ty Montgomery each started 3 games with injuries. So running back room, I'd say it's a push. Nothing that much more significant than what we necessarily had last year. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. All right. So I'm actually kind of a fan. I like the way this wide receiver room is constructed, because I think now everybody has a very specific fit that makes sense. So like last year, Marvin Mims was just kind of trying to get plugged in. He wasn't really playing a receiver role that fit his skill set and didn't get him on the field enough, because as Sean Payton said at the Combine, that was being played by Jerry Jeudy. And it wasn't being played very well with Jerry Jeudy. So Cortland Sutton coming back into that role, and I'm really excited about Tim Patrick. Hopefully, he can come back. So Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, uh, in a very specific type of a role for him, and now Marvin Mims kind of being unleashed, really takes the ceiling of our wide receiver room to be significantly higher, in my opinion. And like I said, I mean the things that Tim Patrick can do, even if he's 75% of himself pre-injury, is huge for this offense. And then we'll see what Cortland Sutton ends up doing. You know, they obviously guaranteed him the $2 million today, so it looks like he's here to stay. And I'm good with it. And I think we'll add more to that room without a doubt. But then little Jordan Humphrey is going to have his role. I think he should be expanded a little bit more. Brandon Johnson, somebody that's so underrated. But that's a pretty solid wide receiver room. And like I said, I think it's going to get better. In 2021, their wide receivers were Marquez Callaway, Traquan Smith, Lil Jordan Humphrey, and Kenny Stills. All right. I think 3 of those 4 guys aren't even in the league anymore. Not sure about Marquez Callaway. I don't even think he's in the league anymore. Traquan was with us for a little bit, had a cup of coffee with us last year. Lil Jordan Humphrey's on the team this year. He just got re-upped, and I don't even know where the hell Kenny Stills is. But that is a terrible wide receiver room. Terrible. They still got more points because they had an offense that was at least functioning within structure, which was not happening last year. And it was so obvious that Sean Payton was doing so much. Everybody's like, you know, he screwed over Russ and he wasn't even trying to adapt to Russ. It is complete and utter 100% bullshit. What they were running last year was not Sean Payton's offense, not at all. So something to super keep in mind there. And then their tight end, their main tight end that year was Adam Troutman, and they mixed in a little bit of Juwan Johnson, who I actually really like. And Adam Troutman's our guy. So it's pretty funny. When you look at the offensive skill positions in that year, it was not very good, but somehow, some way, Sean Payton got it to be cooked up a little bit. And then if you look at all the years with Breeze, when he had a quarterback that was really good, right, Hall of Fame good, they were in the top 10 offensively every single year except for I think 2 or 3. So it's not like Sean Payton just forgot how to coach offense, right? So I think another year in the system, a year where he can finally run his system, it's going to set up a rookie really, really well. And I think that he'll be able to dial up a lot, even though they say he has a very complex playbook and his play calls are really, really hard. What his system is known for is dialing guys to be open. So as long as you're making the right read and you know where your eyes are going to go, the guys are going to be there. And that's something that can really help a rookie quarterback's confidence, and it can allow for them to really make strides. And not to forget the fact that we have a really good offensive line. Like our offensive line last year was extremely underrated. I think we were top 10 in pass blocking. We were top 10 in run blocking. We were really good across the board. In my opinion, 40 to 50% of the sacks that we allowed were the quarterback's fault. So, and we're only going to be better going into this year. Yeah, we lost Cushenberry, but you know, the other 4 guys are gonna be another year in the system. They're gonna be playing with each other. It's gonna be exciting to see Forsyth or whoever the new rookie is gonna be, them coming in and being able to grow. So I think that there's a lot of potential. I think we're gonna be able to set up a rookie quarterback for success for sure, in a lot of different ways. Oh, and to add to it as well, another thing. 2021 Saints were better in the red zone. So when you look at the red zone, you take touchdown percentage only, take field goals out of it. 2021 Saints were at 59% of the red zone trips they had resulted in a touchdown. Pretty good. It was like right in the upper middle half of the league. The Broncos last year were at 50%, 51 if you want to round up. So they were lower, and they were kind of in the middle, a little bit on the lower tier of the middle. So red zone and third down was a huge problem last year with a quarterback that really functioned better off script than he did in script, like Sean Payton likes to have it. And so if he can maximize guys like Simeon and Winston, I mean, Winston went from going 30 interceptions when he was in Tampa Bay, setting a record, to, you know, on pace to having, I think, 12 for the whole year. So the guy can cook it up, and the guy, if given a quarterback that can function well within an offense and read, you know, make the right reads, he can be really elite. To add on top of that, right, I think what's the most important thing, and I've reiterated this, and I cannot stress to you guys enough how important this is. And it was funny because Louis Riddick actually tweeted about it today, somebody who I really respect and I really like. And he talked about so often when we're doing these draft grades and we're watching the film and we do our rankings, we always look at a player, their talent, their track record, their health, their leadership, whatever it might be, right? And which are all good things to look at. But we never really realized the most important factor of all this, and I've always said this, I'm not sure why it's finally really coming out. Maybe it's because I'm like looking for it more, or the algorithms or whatever. It's all about the fit. Like the fit of these players can make or break anybody. You know, there's so many different examples, but one that really comes off the top for me is Sam Darnold, right? Sam Darnold was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school going into college, right? Super talented. Had a really good college career at USC. So it's not like he played at some bum school. He played at USC, had a great college career, and was a top 3 pick in the NFL draft. So you got to look at it. The guy obviously is talented, right? Great leader. He was, you know, highly recruited, had a great college career, and then ultimately was a top 3 pick in the NFL. He was picked by the Adam Gase-led Jets, who we know very well that is almost Nathaniel Hackett level bad, right? So not only was it a terrible coach, but they had no talent at all on that team. That team was awful. The defense sucked. Their offense sucked. They couldn't run the ball. Their offensive line was horrendous. He got his ass kicked for like 2-3 years there, however long he was there, and then he ended up going to Carolina under Matt Rule, I think. That like equally as shitty of a situation. And then, so what do you expect from the guy? So first of all, he got his ass beat, like he physically got killed. And then mentally, think what that's doing to the guy. Then they go to Carolina and same kind of things are happening. So then he goes to San Francisco to get football rehab. And all of the reports coming out of San Francisco are like how sharp the guy is, how smart he is, how good he looked. And so now he's got a chance to really resurrect his career in Minnesota. I think they'll still draft a rookie quarterback, but he might get a chance to start. And it would not surprise me if he has a Baker Mayfield-esque turnaround. But Baker Mayfield's one of those other guys that just got in a terrible situation. RG3, listen, I can't stand RG3 now. I think he's an absolute dog shit analyst, right? He's just clickbait material. The guy was a beast, man, when he came in to the league. And Mike Shanahan is a great guy, even though Mike Shanahan didn't want him. But he got put in a situation where he got killed, you know? Same thing with Andrew Luck. Like, imagine if Andrew Luck actually had some semblance of protection. The guy would have had an amazing career. Who knows if Patrick Mahomes would be Patrick Mahomes had he not gotten drafted into Kansas City. So there's a lot of situations where obviously guys are going to be good regardless, but they're going to be better, you know, given the situations. And it's not even just about like the play on the field. I think about what it does to these guys mentally. So that's where it really comes from. And when you look at these rookie quarterback class, right, you know, everybody's talking about Bo Nix is either the 5th ranked guy or the 6th ranked guy on most people's boards. There's some that have him at 3 or 4, right? But for the most part, he's right around 5th or 6th. But if you look at it from the Broncos standpoint and like what fits in our system and what we'll never know the answer to this, but what maybe Sean Payton is actually his ranking is, I bet you would look something like Caleb Williams 1, Drake May 2, Bo Nix 3, JJ McCarthy 4, Jaden Daniels 5. Michael Penix 6 is probably what it would look like, in my opinion. And because what those guys do fit well with what Sean Payton's needing. In fact, Bo Nix might be the best fit of all of them for Sean Payton because he did everything in college that Sean Payton really asked of his quarterbacks to do in the NFL in terms of, you know, some under center. They don't do as much under center, but like working the pocket well, getting the ball out of his hands, being super accurate. The guy played 61 games and NCAA record in college. And I already know that Sean Payton loves that because he's already kind of hesitant starting rookie. So the 61 games is amazing. Like 48 touchdowns and 3 interceptions or something. It was asinine. Broke that NCAA record for completion percentage, and they weren't all just screens. So the guy, and you know, the fact that he's a little bit older, a little bit more mature, I just feel like it's almost so obvious that Bo Nix is probably going to be his guy. I think he also really loved JJ McCarthy. I just don't think realistically he's going to get it with the hype. But between one of the two of those guys, I mean, I think it's a lock. Michael Penix is somebody else that'll be available at 12. I really don't think he fits Sean Payton's system at all. I mean, first of all, when you hear about how the meeting went at the combine, when they talked with Michael Penix, he said it was an interesting meeting, and because what they would do is they show me all my bad plays, and I think that that's pretty common. But when you really look at Michael Penix, the guy's got ridiculous talent. He really can make every throw, but he struggles working the pocket well, and the offenses that he ran were very, very, very spread style, almost a little bit too much. And on top of that, he had ridiculous playmakers around him. It's not his fault, right? But you see it in the games that his offensive line didn't hold up that well, specifically the NCAA championship game. He really struggles when that first read's not there, and kind of gets happy feet. Whereas when you watch Bo Nix, he'll go through his progressions and he'll manipulate the pocket, and he's got some really good athleticism to be able to get out. Another knock on Bo Nix saying he doesn't have good arm strength or elite arm strength. His arm strength is not elite, but I can assure you guys his arm strength is very above average, upper half of the NFL. The guy can really sling it. He's got plenty sufficient arm strength, and it's not like Sean Payton's offense requires a lot of arm strength. I mean, see Drew Brees, and those deep shots that you're taking, you're really doing that 3 or 4 times a game. But a lot of the times, those don't really take arm strength. I mean, anybody can throw the ball 50 yards on the field, but it's about the timing where you're putting them. So I just think it's almost too obvious that it's going to work for him. And JJ McCarthy, I think, is somebody that I can see Sean Payton really loving as well. I think he might be a little bit more hesitant because he might feel like he's somebody that's not going to be able to come in and be ready right away. But I think between JJ McCarthy and Bo Nix, they're very similar guys. They're very similar in stature. The only difference is that Bo Nix has a lot more playing experience, but JJ McCarthy, being younger, has what a lot of people perceive to be a higher ceiling. But I would be thrilled with either one of the guys. If somehow we can get JJ, that's awesome. But I think Bo Nix is a great fit. I think our roster works out really well. I anticipate our running game being better. I anticipate our defense overall being more solid. I mean, we were historically bad at one point. I think now that Vance Joseph understands that he's just got to run his system, or else he's gonna be out, and it's gonna be the new secondary coach that we got, blanking on his name right now, from Wisconsin. That was Jim Leonard. It's going to be his show, and he's very highly respected. But I think we're going to be better defensively for sure. I would like for us to, maybe make a little bit more moves on that D line and bring some guys in offensively. Like I said, man, I think Hunter Renfrow is the guy that we need of the available free agents. Or we can look at like a Ladd McConkey in the draft, but we're probably not going to be in a position to get him without a second rounder. So get ready for Bo Nix, guys, or get ready for a rookie quarterback, because I really believe that it's happening. And I think that all of you guys being like, no, we shouldn't build around it, and we need to get our roster going first. My question to you is this, okay? You got to build the roster around a rookie quarterback anyway. So whether you get the rookie quarterback this year and then build around them, with the other picks and then into next offseason, or you do the opposite way. You have to find your quarterback. The roster is not going to matter. So get yourself a quarterback. Try to find it. If you draft Bo Nix and he shits the bed, try it again next year. But you need to be able to find the quarterback first, and then you build the roster around him, because it's never a lock that you're going to find a quarterback, and it's never a lock that you're going to be able to find skill position guys either. So if you ask me, man, let's say we swing for the fences this year and we get Bo Nix, and let's say he's really, really good, or he shows a lot of upside, we're going to have over $100 million next year. So we could get a lot of skill position guys to build around him, and then also build through the draft as well. So there's that. I'm going to have another video coming out today, later tonight. So I hope you guys catch that one. I'm going to kind of do a little bit more of a deep dive into the draft itself, kind of what I want to see happening, kind of some strategies, around the draft. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. Talking about, should we trade back? What scenarios I would or would not trade back? Should we trade up? What scenarios I would or would not trade up in? And kind of some reasonings why. Because I think a lot of the time people will just say things like, oh, you can get Bo Nix at pick 30. Why don't you just trade back? There's a lot of your logic could be right, but and many times you're doing more harm than you are good. So tune in for that, guys. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Appreciate you tuning in, and we'll catch you guys later. And also, it looks like another quarterback has been signed, guys. Breaking news here. I just got the notification. Another quarterback has actually been signed. So that makes 24 quarterbacks either signed or traded this offseason. And the Broncos have gotten none of them. And I love it because I'm sick of Band-Aids. Stop putting Band-Aids on stuff. This video actually should be sponsored by Band-Aid because of how much the Broncos have Band-Aided. But Josh Dobbs signed with the Niners, who also signed Brandon Allen. So that's pretty interesting. I actually thought Josh Dobbs would be kind of interesting here. So, but he's there. And Brandon Allen or Josh Dobbs end up getting cut before the season. So you could always sign him later. Anyways, have a good one, guys. Peace out and enjoy the rest of your evening. And we'll catch you guys on the next video here in another couple hours or so. Mile high salute to you guys. Peace.